Some betrayals do not just break your heart, they completely reshape how you look at the person you sleep next to every night. I'm Tyler Vance, and after 8 grueling months of overseas deployment, I did not return home to a warm embrace or a home-cooked meal. Instead, I found my elderly parents living out of a beat-up sedan in a grocery store parking lot. For nearly a year, I endured scorching heat and endless shifts, dreaming of the quiet evenings back in Texas with my wife, Chloe. We had been married for years, and I truly believed she shared my deep commitment to family. My father, Harrison, spent 40 years working as a mechanic, while my mother, Evelyn, was the kind soul who baked for the entire neighborhood and hand-stitched our wedding quilt. Our family also carried a profound grief, because my younger sister Nora was taken from us by a reckless driver 6 years ago. My mother kept the portrait of Nora everywhere, a constant reminder of the beautiful nurse she was meant to become. That portrait was the only item they managed to save when a devastating electrical fire consumed their family home on a dry summer night. With their home reduced to ash and no adequate insurance, my terrified parents drove straight to my house in the middle of the night. They knocked on the door covered in soot, holding the cracked portrait of Nora, desperately needing a place to rest. Chloe opened the door but coldly refused to let them inside, claiming she needed her personal space and routine undisturbed. When my plane finally landed back home, Chloe called to say she could not wait to see me, never mentioning the tragedy. However, a tense phone call with my father revealed the horrifying reality of where they had been staying for 11 long days. I bypassed my own house completely, driving straight to the dark parking lot where my parents sat stranded in their vehicle. Seeing my proud father staring blankly out the windshield while my mother wept silently in the passenger seat broke something inside me. The smoke-damaged picture of Nora sat on the dashboard, watching over them like a silent guardian in the darkness. I climbed into the back seat and wrapped my arms around them, realizing that my wife had deliberately abandoned my family. I drove to my house and found Chloe relaxing in the living room, acting as if nothing was wrong with the world. When I demanded to know why my parents were sleeping in a parking lot, she did not even offer an apology. Chloe calmly explained that she was not a caretaker and refused to be burdened by the problems of people who were not her parents. Hearing those detached words from the woman who had accepted the kindness and gifts of my mother made my stomach turn with absolute disgust. In that quiet moment, the illusions of my marriage completely shattered, and I knew there was no path toward forgiveness. I walked out without another word, returning to the parking lot to bring my parents back to my house. The following week was filled with an unbearable tension as my parents tried their best to remain completely invisible in the guest room. My mother constantly apologized for simply using the bathroom, while Chloe walked through the halls throwing loud sighs and making passive-aggressive remarks. My father sat on the porch with a tight jaw, enduring the hostile environment created by my wife. One night at 2 a.m, I discovered my mother sitting alone at the kitchen table. Staring intently at the portrait of Nora, we spoke softly about how Nora would have fiercely defended the family, bringing a brief moment of genuine laughter to the dark room. That midnight conversation gave me the ultimate clarity I needed to handle the situation permanently. The next afternoon, I sat Chloe down at the table and delivered my final decision with absolute calmness and certainty. I told her that she had deliberately closed the door onto people who loved her when they had absolutely nowhere else to turn. When she angrily demanded to know if I was choosing my parents over our marriage, I looked her in the eye and said yes. I filed the legal paperwork for divorce shortly after and immediately focused all my energy on helping my parents rebuild their lives. I rented a beautiful single-story house for them on a quiet avenue with plenty of room for a vibrant garden. My mother immediately planted flowers along the fence, while my father helped neighbors repair their vehicles in the driveway. Together, my father and I carefully hung the portrait of Nora in a brand new wooden frame right above their new fireplace. As the afternoon sunlight illuminated her face, it felt as though she was finally resting in the place she belonged. My divorce was finalized soon after, and though I felt a natural sadness for the past, I possessed zero regrets. Now, I spend almost every evening on that front porch, sharing quiet moments and warm coffee with my father as the Texas sun sets. My father recently joked that Nora would have handled the entire parking lot situation much louder, probably bringing a full television camera crew to expose Chloe. We laughed together, feeling the comforting warmth of the memory of my sister. Through the screen door, The soothing sound of my mother humming in the kitchen reminds me that we survived the worst of the storm. I lost a marriage, but I saved the people who truly matter, and I would make the exact same choice without a single hesitation. When the people you love face the darkest nights of their lives, you must always open the